Okay, so Sister Samina, she says, brother, can a woman pray 15 days after her period starts, I guess? Okay, so there are two main... Let me move because these guys are praying. Can you get my... I'm just going to move a bit forward. Okay, so Sister Samina says, brother, can women pray 15 days after her period starts? I believe that's what her question is. Now, with regards to your question, there are two types of women. Generally, there are more, but I'm going to simplify it. One group of women, they have a regular cycle, right? They have a regular monthly cycle. So they know, for example, that they get 6 days every month, and that's always how it is. If you have a regular cycle, then you go with that regular cycle. So if you know that for, 5 years you've been having periods only 6 days or maybe 7 days, right? Every single month. Then suddenly you start bleeding for 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, 11 days, 12, 13, 14, 15 days. Then what we say is after the 6 or 7 days are over, after the 6 or 7 days are over, then because you have a regular cycle, you assume that the blood that comes after the 6 or 7 days is not menstrual blood, rather it is what is known as istihada, which means it is the blood that is defective bleeding. So in that scenario, you would make ghusl, you would basically wash the private area every time you pray, and you would have a pad or some kind of cloth there to stop the dripping of blood, and you will make wudu for every single salah. This is if you have a regular cycle. If you have a regular monthly cycle of 6 or 7 days, then after that regular cycle is finished, that number of days is finished, after that you consider it to be defective bleeding, in which case you must pray, you must fast, you do your ghusl, you put on a pad or a cloth, and you basically make wudu before every single prayer in the time that that prayer comes in. And with that wudu you can pray the fard and the sunnah of that prayer, and then the next salah, even if you didn't break your wudu, you would still make wudu again. Why? Because you have defective bleeding. Now, the second scenario is if a woman does not have a regular cycle. She has an irregular cycle. So in this scenario, she will look at the qualities, the characteristics of the blood, right? And there are three main characteristics that you will look at: the smell, the color, and the thickness. So with menstrual blood, the blood will be thick, and it will have a distinct smell to it, and it will be black or dark in color. So dark in color, thick, and have a distinct smell. Whereas, so if that blood comes, then you consider it to be menstrual blood and you do not pray or fast. However, if you have an irregular cycle and the blood that you have coming out is thin blood and it is red blood and it doesn't have that distinct smell, then you consider this to be defective bleeding, and you do what I mentioned earlier, which is to put on a pad, and you should wear the pad, and you should obviously wash yourself, wear the pad, do ghusl first, wash yourself, and then make wudu for every prayer and the sunnah prayers that come with that prayer.